Yeah, I can see 80 people have joined us already, and we're 3 minutes past 2. So I'll begin now. I see we've got people from all over the world joining us, from Venezuela, from Canada, Croatia, Ireland, Kenya, Nigeria. So my multi-time zone greeting was accurate. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Jack Coulton. I'm the communications manager for the Ocean Literacy Initiatives of UNESCO's IOC, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this Networking Friday organized by the Atlantic International Research Center on ocean literacy for the sustainable blue economy. So I'm going to make a very quick introduction regarding what we do and why this is important to us, and then I'll pass it over to our wonderful panelists here so they can give you more details on what exactly the sustainable blue economy and the integration of ocean literacy into that means to them. UNESCO has been working on ocean literacy for many years now, and it was fully integrated into the United Nations Ocean Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, which is running from 2021 to 2030. There are many challenges that the United Nations Ocean Decade seeks to face and confront. The 10th challenge is perhaps the largest and most meaningful. And Challenge 10 of the United Nations Ocean Decade says that we must restore society's relationship with the ocean. This initially meant largely through efforts in education. But ocean literacy has expanded since the early days, and it now means interacting with stakeholders in the public sector, in the private sector, and with NGOs in order to understand better our impact on the ocean and the ocean's impact on us, and what kinds of behavior change we can implement in order to manage this vast resource more sustainably. So it goes from ocean science to ocean finance, from human health to human wealth. And as fishing is one of the oldest economic activities in humanity, we might say that the blue economy has existed for thousands of years. But of course, what that means today, given a globalized society and all of the impacts that we have on the environment, is very different. So it's more important than ever that we're conscious of how our economic activity impacts the ocean and how we can mitigate those impacts for the good of all humanity. So I won't take up any more time. I'll pass now to our first panelist, Thorsten Kiefer of JPI Oceans, who will give a more thorough overview of what ocean literacy means in the sustainable blue economy. So Thorsten, over to you.
Thank you, Jack. And I should start with my first slide. Here we go. And in presentation mode. So, good. So, thank you for inviting me or the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership actually to this webinar. I'm happy to kick this off. The partnership on Sustainable Blue Economy in Horizon Europe has a whole work package dedicated to communication, outreach, and specifically ocean literacy. And I guess that is also why I'm now speaking here to you. So that there is a commitment of the 60+ partners of the partnership to ocean literacy. The ambition is roughly threefold, I would say. One is to promote behavioral change, to enable the just and sustainable transition of Europe's blue economy. This transformation is at the heart of the partnership overall, and ocean literacy is a means to achieve that, and also to generate interest in having sustainable blue economy as a target for innovation, for career development and investment. And also, as the industry actors are a target to influence their corporate social responsibility. If we think in a more comical way, what desired impact would be of our endeavors here, it would be if a student basically says, I'm now really excited to take off for a blue career. If this is a career path that really attracts a lot of young people at the stage where they may have to make career decisions. Entrepreneurs might build their business models in blue economy on the principle of sustainability. So you see there's a bit of a deviation from the real estate location. So if we can achieve that to make it mainstream, that sustainability is at the heart of blue economy entrepreneurship. And maybe for people who have money and want to invest it, might achieve something like real estate was yesterday, and now the future is a sustainable blue economy to invest money for maybe a return, but also for doing the right thing. Good. The partnership has basically two levers to create impact around ocean literacy. One major thing that the partnership does is to co-fund between the countries and the European Commission a lot of projects on blue economy topics. And that is a lot of critical mass where if ocean literacy is built into those projects, we can have multipliers of ocean literacy impact. Also, there's this element of citizen science that the partnership can and wants to include into all of its research and innovation activities. And yeah, I wanted to give the word to Confucius, who says these wise things, a Chinese proverb, and I'm sure you agree with me, and with Confucius for that matter. And for those who don't speak Chinese as fluently as I don't either, I translated this for you into English. He said, or Benjamin Franklin actually adopted this also later, so it's not so entirely clear who said it, but Confucius, I think, sounds really good. So he said, tell me and I may forget, teach me and I may remember, and involve me and I understand. So this actually makes a strong case for ocean literacy that goes into the direction of citizen science. And here's a nice example. So the partnership projects are not quite there yet. The first set has just kicked off. So I take loan of a JP Oceans joint action project that gives a nice example, Andromeda project that was funded in context of the core ecological aspects of microplastics. And what they did, as part of the project, small part, but the part, they produced a mobile phone app that people can download, obviously, and then analyze microplastics particles via image analysis, and then these data are submitted to a database. So citizens can very simply contribute to knowledge base around microplastics. Very hands-on thing, and of course it can be connected with all sorts of training and teaching and so on. Obviously, we are not thinking in partnership, not thinking about ocean literacy in an isolated context. And actually, Jack just made the point that the UN Ocean Decade has a lot. I'm just closing the window here. Okay. UN Ocean Decade has a lot of ocean literacy activities and an ambition in it. The partnership has it, but also at the European level, I would like to highlight the mission Ocean and Waters that has these elements in it, and in particular, what it is a project or it's a coalition, the EU for Ocean. I want to give credit to EU for Ocean as a vehicle for us all to work together. So this EU for Ocean coalition is strengthening the European ocean literacy community. Probably many of you are part of it. And they have three elements to it. One is this EU for Ocean platform for organizations and individuals. There's also a platform for youth in particular, and then the Blue Schools network. So really addresses several life or career stages. Ocean literacy traditionally has a target of telling people how valuable the ocean is, the beauty of nature, how worth preserving it is, and so on. In the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, we want to focus the angle more really on the economy, on the blue economy side. I mean, that's what the partnership is about. So teaching or discussing, communicating the value of a sustainable blue economy, the transformation to a sustainable blue economy, the opportunities that lie with it, maybe the responsibilities, and so on. And I'm very happy, actually, that the Youth for Ocean Coalition also is going into that direction. There were 2 events recently in March at the Ocean Days, Ocean Literacy in Action conference, this session here on, that was a panel discussion where it was discussed that ocean literacy is crucial because it can be part of the transition for a young person to get interested and skilled for the ocean-related industry, and also that it needs to be communicated that companies that fail to engage in the sustainability aspects, that they run the risk of being left behind. And on the right side, there's the poster for a session at the European Maritime Day just a few weeks ago in Denmark, where the topic was on corporate social responsibility, and the connection with ocean literacy and environmental, social, and governance aspects. So it's very good to see that EU for Ocean also embarks in the direction of really hands-on relation to blue economy aspects. Concretely now in the partnership, what is the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership doing for ocean literacy? Ocean literacy is specified in as a cross-cutting theme in the calls of the partnership. It also goes as far as making it a evaluation relevant point. So projects that want to score high can score additional points with ocean literacy. When projects are underway, we are offering ocean literacy training to the projects. And already we offer an ocean literacy toolkit that will continue developing with reports, networking platforms, initiatives. So everything you need to expand on ocean literacy. And this is more or less the same as I said in the beginning. So kind of the excerpts from the call text of the second call of the partnership, where it specifically says that proposals should contribute to ocean literacy activities, and that evaluation criteria includes these communication elements such as ocean literacy. Realizing that if it's not written in the text, then it's not considered as important. So we'll continue actually advocating as a work package in the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership to up the level of ocean literacy and up the importance of ocean literacy in these call texts and therefore in the projects. And with that, I think, yes, I can return to my Chinese passion. You might guess what that is. That is xian xian or something like that. If you speak Chinese, you know that I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but it says, thank you. Thanks. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you very much, Thorsten. Yes, I wouldn't have known what that was either. Well, without further ado, we can now pass to our second panelist, Juanita Zorrilla of SUBMON, who will talk to us a bit more specifically about seafood literacy in the blue economy. So over to you, Juanita. You may still be mute, Juanita.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I am Juanita. I am part of the group of SUBMON. It's an NGO based in Barcelona, and we are in the C2C project that it's about seafood traceability. but we are working focus on seafood literacy. And for this Networking Friday, we are doing a short insight into how seafood literacy is related with blue economy. So to start, what's the blue economy? It's quite hard to define this because there are a lot of definitions of blue economy, so we cannot go for just one. In this case, the World Bank has its own definition, United Nations has their own definition of blue economy, and European Commission also have their own definition, and so on. So according to, well, the objectives of each institution, we will find, well, common topics and sometimes different ones. But when it comes into the conservation of the marine ecosystem, I just want to highlight this recent report of the IUCN that is towards a regenerative blue economy. This is a very interesting report that goes into the evolution, I would say the evolution of the concept of blue economy, because depending on the sector you are moving on, depending the expertise, each one has their own perspective. So it's interesting how they managed to separate into these three groups. Before it was say blue economy, it was everything about like exploitation of the ocean, very focused on economic gains. And then some decades ago, it moved more into a more green blue economy, in which it was starting to include some sustainable criteria with regulations, marine policies. But because of the challenges we are facing nowadays, there is a new proposal of this definition of blue economy, or what should be this blue economy, and its frame, it's called regenerative blue economy. So the presentation I'm doing right now is like trying to feed into this new concept of regenerative. It's more inclusive, but we need to acknowledge that this concept still it's under construction, for saying this way, and we still it has to be defined, the scope, how it's going to be implemented, and a very important issue, it's how the evaluation of this blue economy, how are we going to evaluate that it's really blue, it's really inclusive, it's really sustainable, it's going to be this blue economy. But within this, it's a very new release. It's like they published like on April, so it's very new. But I think it's a good direction. Or we should go into the people that we work on ocean literacy and how to fit into this new concept of regenerative blue economy, and leave behind this brown blue economy that still is in our present. So to go into there, how sometimes it's hard to see the link in when we talk about economy, and then by other way we talk ocean literacy. So when we talk about this new concept of regenerative blue economy, it lies not only on this economic prosperity, but also ensuring that the conservation is done, and the wise use of marine resources. So here is where ocean literacy comes as a key tool that empowers individuals to make more conscious decisions and informed decisions to support these efforts for marine conservation and to accomplish this regenerative ocean and this blue economy. So when we merge these two concepts of regenerative blue economy and ocean literacy, then a lot of topics emerge, but one of them is the seafood literacy. Sometimes we are used to listen always ocean literacy, ocean literacy, ocean literacy, but I think it's now time that we start defining these other fields within the ocean literacy world. And for example, in our case, we are working with seafood literacy. So how can ocean literacy contribute to this new concept of regenerative blue economy? And that's the one of the objectives we are working on the project of C2C. And within the ocean literacy dialogues that were held during the Barcelona Ocean Conference this last April, we did a workshop with all the attendees, and we asked them for just a moment. Sometimes it's hard, but just a moment of stop, slow down, and think about during, I don't know, 5 minutes. We asked them to imagine like how would be like from 10 years from now the seafood sector. So just to give them ideas to start thinking, because we are now used like to go very immediate, very short decision, but we asked them to think about, okay, how is going to be the future? How do you picture it? And it was very interesting because what we got, it was this picture, because we work with a visual graphic note taker. And it was very interesting because when we ask people participate and to engage, we don't know how it's going to be, if it's going to be very pessimistic or very optimistic or dramatic panorama. But we were very happy because it was very positive panorama. And the summary of this is like, there is hope. And there is where ocean literacy comes. It's about hope. It's about that change is possible. And that's what we are working on. You can see here a lot of ideas and how from people from different parts of the world, but also we can see how everything is connected, because at the end in the ocean, everything is connected. So problems and solutions as well. So from this reflection, I want to distill a little bit. This is our actions on the C2C project. It's working on the importance of informed consumer choices and to enhance this public understanding of the seafood sources, where is the food coming from, and because this will help to mitigate this overexploitation of the resources and to get this ultimate goal that is to support the marine conservation efforts. And then this is like our very summarized work on the C2C project, this improving this regenerative blue economy through seafood literacy. And what we did is from this working plan, we start identifying barriers. And when we identify barriers, we get into these big 9, we call them the big 9 on seafood consumption. And we realized that it was very related. It was not just about ocean literacy, it was also about economy. If you see and if you analyze, economy is almost in all of them. So that's why that's where we see how merged are both concepts and how do we need to work them together. So once we have these big 9 barriers that were from analyzing responses from 4 countries in Europe from the project, so we start to really settle down, landing all these abstract ideas of the barriers and start doing actions to overcome those barriers. So because seafood literacy is one of those big barriers, and integrated into the objectives of the C2C project, we develop a hackathon. It's very interesting because it really engages people. And it was a very interesting process to know how creativity can come to really solve some of the nowadays problems. So we gave in just this challenge, these 2 sentences you see here. And after 2 months with training, with mentors, with following ups, they gave us 4 proposals that were linking this tool into the blockchain that we are developing with the C2C to give consumers more informed decisions about the things they are consuming. So then to work more on seafood literacy, we are about to launch this MOOC. It's coming soon in July, we hope. We are developing this massive online, open online course. It's about all seafood literacy and involving also topics about aquaculture, about fisheries, but it's very dynamic. We have tried to be very visual as well, and with the collaboration of the expertise of the whole consortium. So it's self-paced, so I really recommend you to follow this MOOC if you are more into the topics of blue economy and ocean literacy. And then other of the activities we are moving on are some consumer toolkits for the general public, like some traditional cooking, but how sustainability is also involved with biodiversity, and to really catch people and receipts from different parts of Europe, and also are welcome from the world, and involving chefs as well, and see how we can be more sustainable and do more responsible decisions. And then we are working also for this is going more into at the end of the project for restaurants as well. And when you go to a restaurant, to see the story behind what you are consuming. So using our traceability system. So well, these are some of the actions, on landing actions of what we are doing on seafood literacy. And then just to end this, just this final message is like, change is possible for a regenerative blue economy in which ocean literacy and seafood literacy has a main role, in which transparency and traceability of the sector, it's completely and absolutely needed to get this right information for a more responsible behavior. And we expect this awareness of the whole seafood value chain of the stakeholders. And at the end, it's like the ocean is not a supermarket, and it should not be treated like an endless resources for just human exploitation. Well, this is the presentation for now, and just thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Juanita. Yes, I remember this presentation in Barcelona very well, because I was there as well. And of course, I completely agree. The more we know about where our food comes from, the better able we will be to make informed decisions about what to eat, what not to eat, how much, and so on. But yes, it can seem very, very, very challenging to begin those conversations sometimes, but it's necessary that we do it. Of course, seafood is only one aspect of the blue economy, and there's lots of other jobs and technologies in the maritime world that people can be involved in. And so I'd like to now invite our next speaker, Lucia Fraga of CETMAR and the ORESkills partnership, to talk to us a bit about ocean literacy as a driver to attract new talent to maritime technologies. So over to you, Lucia.
Thank you so much for the presentation, and also for the invitation to speak with you today. Well, I will present a little bit how have we been integrating this line of action of attracting people to the maritime careers by ocean literacy in several projects. So I just present a little bit that I am working in the Technology Center of the Sea, which is an interinstitutional and interdisciplinary meeting platform. We are in the northwest of Spain. You can see the building here. And our aim is to promote sustainability and innovation in the sea, its resources and sectors, by coordinating activities, in particular between research, administration, but also involving the society and the industry in all those activities. We have several working areas, and I am coordinating the training area, which is addressing this sustainability and innovation purpose in training activities to promote a better standard of life for the people working at the sea by training and also scientific outreach and ocean literacy. So we started, let's say, quite soon in the moments in which we were not speaking about ocean literacy. What we were doing was maritime scientific outreach, and our main actions were addressed in this training center that we are managing for the regional government. You can see here the photo and where it is in the port of Marine. Aishola is a training center that is addressing the fisheries sector and in particular people that is willing to work in related sectors to fishing but stopping their fishing activity. The one I show it's this instrument that you can see in the right of the presentation, and it's used to create wooden boat pieces that are with a circular shape. And the trainings addressed in the school are related to this wood boat building, timber, composites, as well for building boats and materials for aquaculture, electric and pneumatic and engineering installation, fishing nets, plastic sails, also rubber. And it's about work-based learning with small groups. But one of our transversal activities since we started working with CETMAR was to start promoting these the careers in the boat building trades and also combining the activity of the trainings in which they were building materials with the activity of the projects to create also materials to better explain the sea, the resources, and the activity we're conducting. So, oops, sorry. Here you can see some photos of the type of activities when they are building nets or boats in different materials or materials for the aquaculture, even blades for the windmills. In some cases, there have been collaborations. Because the main goal of the training center is to bridge the gap among training and industry needs, addressing these sectors related to the fisheries and aquaculture. But we also are providing materials and also activities to promote these maritime careers and the understanding of the ocean and our relation with it. So you can see some of the materials are lent to organizations that are organizing events like the pools with the small boats to navigate. Some others are in an exposition in the center that is visited very frequently. In other cases, we go to other places to organize some activities. Let's say that it's a transversal activity that we started more than 20 years ago to promote the careers. And we start each time with more different types of groups. The last group was really young. They were 2 to 3 years. It was a little bit complicated, but it allows also to make a communication with the families, because in many cases, these occupations are really not known, and people don't even think on, well, I could address this type of occupation. So with this philosophy, we also, when in 2018, we started to work in a blueprint project, which is type of projects in the Erasmus Plus program that are addressed at creating skills strategies for sectors that are identified as key for the European Union. We started to work in one of the first projects of this category in 2018, addressing the maritime technologies, understood as shipbuilding and offshore renewable energies. And our goal was to combine the needs identified by the industry with the offers of training promoted by training centers to identify gaps and bridge them. So what we did, when we started, here. When we started this project, what we did was a schema about how would we tackle this. And as you can see, our basis was that we had to analyze these skills gaps and offer in both sectors, but that we had some transversal layers addressing the two sectors. And they were digital skills, green skills, those transversal skills that are also called 21st century skills or soft skills. We also address the equity and gender balance, the vocational education and training standards, and the basis was ocean literacy, because we were using this idea of promoting this knowledge, making people aware of the relationships with the ocean, will also trigger the attraction to the careers. And if we go to the type of results and impact that the project had, we had classified in 4 categories: one about creating and piloting, in another about engaging and analyzing, dissemination and promotion, and transfer and sustain. And in all of them, you will find actions related to ocean literacy. There was an identification of more than 100 best practices in an ocean literacy database. We developed a set of pilot experiences addressing the 22 lines of action identified, and there was one of them specifically addressed to the ocean literacy and some others that were also related. We have many materials and conferences that were addressing ocean literacy to raise awareness, and also the maritime technology skills strategy includes recommendation in which ocean literacy is considered like important to attract careers, and we transferred those results to the groups that are the partnerships that are promoting the Pact for Skills in the maritime technologies. And this Pact for Skills is like an upgrade of these blueprint projects, because those partnerships are bringing together industry, research, training providers to promote the skills, the reskilling and upskilling in particular sectors in Europe. So we are, it's like an extension of these blueprint projects. So I will just show a little bit about those results that I just presented. This ocean literacy best practice is an online directory of best practice in ocean literacy related to the maritime technology. They are classified by language, audience, and type of resource. And here you have an example of the type of information that you can find. They are linked to the resource, but we have a short abstract and a classification, which is interesting when you are searching to organize activities. About the pilot experiences, the one that was really focusing ocean literacy is the Mod 2, Maritime on the Loop of Ocean Literacy. What we were promoting were the cross-curricular skills for the maritime technology at secondary level. And we had 2 experiences in Galicia and Trieste. In one of them, we had workshops in which they received some training on ocean literacy, but in particular, there was an approach to the shipbuilding technologies that were used in the shipyards, and to know better these occupations. In Spain, what we made was some activities related to an event of a regatta, a solar regatta, in which the event already existed, but what we did was to integrate some very transversally some questions about ocean literacy to make all the participants to consider how could their activity reduce the impact in the marine environment. And at the end of the process, the Regatta Solar itself integrated some new aspects in their terms of reference. They started to evaluate things like the materials that were used, the design, and the reduction of the impact of the activity as a suggestion of the work that was developed. In all cases, we developed training materials to continue reproducing the activity, but in many cases, as I said, the work was to not so to transfer the content, but to put the students and the teachers to think on how could we improve our activity, which is very transversal, let's say. About the recommendations, well, the whole strategy had about 32 recommendations, but those related to the attraction of talent were those more related with ocean literacy. And in particular, there was a specific recommendation about increasing the attractiveness of maritime careers by developing ocean literacy actions. And this is addressed to all the stakeholders that were considered in the strategy. It includes the social partners, the training providers, the enterprises, and also the policymakers. I believe that only standardization bodies are not considered here. And let's say this, the efforts to dedicate to this should be started since the beginning of the application of the strategy, during all the considered time lapse. And as I said, we also transferred these results, the strategy, the recommendations, to the partnerships that were addressing shipbuilding on one hand and offshore renewables on the other under the Pact for Skills. And in the case of the offshore renewable energies, we did promote the creation of this partnership. So the partnership itself has a vision for the skilling processes in the offshore renewable energies and a set of lines of action that are quite aligned with what we had recommended in the MAIDS strategy. So we started, the transfer was in terms of the description of those lines of action on one hand. But on the other hand, this partnership started by promoting projects to continue developing activities, because the Pact for Skills is very interesting in terms of a connection hub, also information hub, but it doesn't have any funding behind. So we started by promoting projects that could fit the activity of this partnership under the Pact for Skills. The first of them is the Flores project that is running since 2023 and will finalize this year. And it was conceived to support the activity of this partnership under the Pact for Skills, and it has a specific work package as our group or partnership in the Pact for Skills has also a specific working group to address careers in the offshore renewables. And I will show we are continuing with this line, preparing materials to make known the career opportunities in the offshore renewables, and also educational materials about the ocean renewables and the ocean to integrate that in the curricula. So this, sorry. these are an example of the materials. We have some card games about all the occupations and explaining what do they do and what is the relevance in the in the offshore renewables, and also some videos presenting with real people some of these that they are related in the same occupations that are in the card games are also in the videos. And the multilingual materials include a series of 6 lessons, and they are available in English, Spanish, French, and Italian. So this is where we are. We started with mates in 2018 to 2022. Then we created the offshore renewable energies partnership in the Pact for Skills. We promoted this Flores project to continue feeding this group, and as a let's say as a network and knowledge hub, we continue promoting projects related to skills in the offshore renewable energies, and we are now starting to work. Several of the partners of the ORESkills partnership are starting to work in the Shore Winner project, that is centers of vocational excellence in the southern European community. It includes Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, and Cyprus. And of course, we will continue transmitting these principles of ocean literacy for the career development in the sector. So with this, this is the short presentation that I had about how are we applying these ocean literacy principles and activities to promote careers.
Thank you very much, Lucia. And also thank you for including your email address there at the end of that presentation. If I could ask all of the panelists if they can share their contact details with all of our participants today, as it seems to be a question that's coming up again and again from many of the people following us today. So from physical careers, we can now move to a more digital aspect, as our final presentation today comes from Adriana Lippi of the Women's League for the Ocean on ocean literacy and social media. So over to you, Adriana.
So you guys are seeing my presentation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna talk about some social media. I'm an oceanographer from University of São Paulo. I'm doing my master's degree now, studying about gender, women in ocean science in Brazil. I'm co-founder of the Women's League of the Ocean, and I do science communication on social media and my blog. And I also have my paid positions as data analyst, web designer, advocacy. And I will start talking a little bit about the League. We are a network movement. We integrate efforts to emancipate women and ocean conservation. We were funded in 2019, and now by 40 women, and now we are more than 2,000 women. There is in the Echo magazine article we wrote about our work as we integrate SDG 5 and 14, talking about gender and life under the ocean, and also climate action, because we cannot talk about the ocean in these times and forget about climate. And we do many projects, and they all integrate with social media. We have a monthly newsletter. We have more than 1,000 opens by each edition, and we make teasers of this content on social media, because we know everybody's on social media, but mail is a very important tool for communication, as we learned a lot. And this work of this newsletter is curated content, awesome, by voluntary women, and it's awesome. I am very proud. I don't participate on the newsletter, but it's a beautiful work. We also have an award for women in ocean science in Brazil. We have for a senior inspiration and for a junior research, and we do webinars with these winners and media posts. We also made a policy brief. We did a science review on ocean climate policy recommendations, and we did webinars with politicians and experts, and also a lot of social media posts, so we can put blue lenses on our climate talking and communication and activism. And also we had a multimedia campaign. We did podcasts, animated film, a lot of social media posts, printables, messaging, stickers. You know, if you use WhatsApp or Telegram, we have these stickers. So we made a few stickers, and all of this went for social media. And Instagram is our biggest channel. We have more than 20,000 followers. But yeah, we'll talk about the challenges in the end. And also, as individually, I do some work in science communication. I have a blog, espraiada.wordpress.com. It's like a sprawling water, so in Portuguese. Also, Instagram page and a Twitter page. It's X now, but I will still talk like Twitter. And and at Instagram, I did a lot of posts like on static image and talking about that in the beginning, but it's very hard to engage. And then a few diagrams. So even if we, in social media, everybody is so overwhelmed with information. So the more simpler, sometimes childish forms of communication, it's easier for people to absorb the content and take some time and read, not something very heavy on content and text. And I did some, we say carousels, like a lot of a post with many pictures. So like I did one for each principle of the ocean literacy, and some other principles and some other informations like the BBNG treaty. I did a post explaining what are the beyond national jurisdiction areas. It was very fun. And now all social media are going toward video. So let's start doing video. So I did a series of videos on kitchen oceanography. It's a project by Miriam Glassmer. She's a teacher, I think in Norway, and she has a blog, and she described the experiments. The intent is to do experiments with items you can find in your kitchen. And so you can discuss with children or students, physics, oceanography. They're very nice. The one on the right is like salty water and an ice cube. And here is just fresh water and an ice cube. When you put the food coloring, you see that the food coloring, the water don't mix when you have salt water. And here just warm water, cold water. And this one is a model of the thermal halide circulation. And if there's time, I would like to play the video. I put some English subtitles so non-Portuguese speakers can understand.
O filme de 2004, O Dia Depois de Amanhã, mostra o que aconteceria com o planeta se a circulação termoalina parasse. E a gente vai mostrar um pouquinho aqui os princípios dessa circulação termoalina que corre o globo inteiro, todo o oceano. Então a gente tem aqui esse tanque de água, a gente tem aqui um saquinho com gelo, um saquinho com água quente e eu vou colocar uns corantes para a gente ver o que é que está acontecendo. Aqui a gente tem o gelo representando as regiões polares, como Ártico, Antártica, e aqui a gente tem essa água quente representando as regiões que recebem mais radiação do Sol, como a região equatorial. Então aqui a água do oceano vai ser mais quente. Lá nas regiões polares, a água vai ficar mais fria, ela vai perder temperatura e ela vai afundar. E isso vai formar a circulação termoalina. Então vai funcionar como se fosse um motorzinho para fazer com que o oceano circule a água. A circulação termoalina ela é muito importante para distribuir o calor, mas com o aquecimento global que a gente está passando nesse planeta, a gente vai ter que as águas vão ficar cada vez mais quentes, as regiões polares podem não ter mais gelo e com isso a gente vai ter essa paralisação da circulação termoalina. Então, gostaram do experimento? Super fácil de fazer, hein?
So we have like social media, the videos must be 1 minute, 1.5 minutes long. So we don't have time to go inside all the details and everything usually is like very visual. So it was a nice experiment to do these videos and to translate scientific communication, scientific ideas for experiments so people can do at their kitchen, at their schools. But I would like to point some challenges and downsides of social media. Nowadays, everybody says, oh, everybody can make an account and be a big influencer. But we have this algorithm and social media companies can change how our posts will reach people. There's also hacking of accounts and lack of support. I've known a lot of content creators who had their account hacked and the social media company didn't give support and didn't help them to get back. So they lost all content they created for 2, 3, 5 years long. It's very hard to deal with that. We have competition. Every day we have more tools and more people who access internet and are trying this way of life or this communication because I don't get paid. I don't do publicity, advertise on my account. So it's just for fun and for activism. There's also the case of personal exposure. Being women in social media has its caveats. We have like personal image exposure. I know some female content creators who had their image used for deepfakes, not in a good way. We have to deal with comments on our image, so it creates a more pressure for, oh, you have to be more tidy up and use makeup, and you don't get to be messed visually. There's lack of funding or jobs. Hardly we'll see funding for scientific communication. In Brazil, we have one foundation that works with this kind of funding, but they usually go with big newspaper or big influencers. So it's very hard to access this funding. And when we have jobs on ocean literacy or on science communication, usually they are looking for journalists and writers or people who have communication skills, and people who have like science-based sometimes don't get to access. And I liked a lot that Thorsten said they work reminding the project so they can insert funding for ocean literacy in their jobs, in their research. And we have AI that creates a lot of content, but there is many malicious persons that are flooding internet with fake and misinformation nowadays. So that's all I wanted to bring for you. If you have some questions, these are my social media, and I'll be glad to help you.
Thank you so much, Adriana. That's a really inspiring talk. I also work in communication and have to do social media, and it can be very difficult thinking about, what to say and how to say it, and how your message will be received. And you brought up a lot of very interesting points about gender. And I know that Brazil is a pioneering country also in terms of ocean literacy and education. And I think it's really inspiring, the idea that Brazilians are also kind of pioneering questions of justice, equity, diversity, inclusion in terms of ocean science and communication as well. So thank you very much, Adriana. I'm sure I have lots of questions for you personally, which I may ask you another time. If there are any other questions that people in the chat have for any of the panelists, then now is the time. I see that there was one question for Juanita that seems to already have been answered. And yeah, as I said, I could see in the general chat that lots of people were asking for the contact information of our panelists, and I believe all of them have shared that now, either in the chat or in their presentations. So I'll just wait maybe one more minute to see if any other questions come in on the Q&A box, and if they don't, then I'll wrap up and close the session. Okay, I can see one question has come in for Adriana from the social media of Air Network. So the question for Adriana is, from your experience, how do we create a trustful social media brand to communicate science for ocean literacy when there are many people who are sharing information without a scientific background?
Thank you. I think it's very hard because I am a kind of person that read a lot, bring articles, and ask questions to my friends who have more expertise in that area when I'm going to talk about a team that I don't have a knowledge. It takes time. It takes a lot of time, and it brings a lot of questions, and it's like a rabbit hole. And so I think showing references, showing how partners we work together is easy. There's a lot of aesthetics of the authority. Like sometimes you're wearing something that reminds scientific, but it also can be used for malicious persons, ill-intentioned persons who say, "Oh, I'm a doctor. I work at this uni, so you have to believe everything I said." So it's very hard, and I believe that with time and people knowing our job, we'll have like a trustful brand.
Okay, thank you very much, Adriana. I think that's it's a very good point, that these symbols of authority that people use, can be used also by people that we shouldn't trust, and it can be very difficult, especially for young people or people who don't have much expertise when they're first sort of trying to get informed about a new topic, something which is very complicated and technical, like ocean science. Yes, it can be difficult to know who to trust at the beginning, but the strength of our networks and all of the ways that we can collaborate together should hopefully start to kind of generate a wide web of organizations and voices that people know that they can trust. And I know that as UNESCO, we have a very sort of special position in civil society as a voice that people know they can trust, and we'd like to lend that platform to partners like you, and give you the space that you deserve. So I think I will put also my own email in the chat, and the sort of more general email if there are any questions about our ocean literacy initiatives at UNESCO-IOC for everybody to see. But if there are no more questions for now, I will wish you all a very happy and productive rest of your day, a happy weekend, and to stay in touch with us, with the Atlantic International Research Network, with the other panelists, and with each other. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. So thank you very much, and goodbye.